Simon, I'm just wondering how Luton fans are feeling this morning, because it would appear Nathan Jones could be taking charge of his final game as Luton manager tonight. The club has confirmed he has indeed permission to speak to Southampton following this evening's fixture at Stoke. Now, what does that actually mean? Because we've been in this movie before, have we not, with Nathan Jones? And of course, this all boils down to the fact that Ralph Hasenhuttl, on the wrong end of a 4-1 thumping by Newcastle on Sunday, was sent packing yesterday. Let's put a bit more meat in the bones of this. talkSPORT's EFL correspondent Dan Windle joins us. Dan, good morning. What do you know?
Morning, Jim. Morning, Simon. Yeah, as you've said, rightly so, Jim. Our understanding is at talkSPORT that Nathan Jones will be talking to Southampton post-Stoke this evening. There's a confidence at the Southampton end that this is a deal that will soon be done, that will see Nathan Jones take some leap from Luton Town to be managing for the first time in the Premier League with Southampton. Jones brings, as you guys know, intensity, boundless energy. He'll sleep on the couch at the training ground if necessary. He'll dedicate 24/7 to trying to get it right at Southampton if the move does materialise as we expect it will, to try and drag them clear of relegation trouble in the Premier League. He's constantly in motion. He's constantly working, Jim. He's a nervous watcher. He does not stop. You see him biting his nails in the edge of his technical area. He kicks every ball. He wants to form relationships. He wants to stick up for his players, protect his footballers. He'd look to do that at Southampton. But as I've already said, you know, this is a massive jump for Nathan Jones to the Premier League.
Well, yes, but as it was when Stoke came calling.
No, not so much of a jump, because that Stoke were in the Championship and trying to recover ground from having been relegated from the Premier League, and we're in decline, and we're looking to arrest that decline.
Yes, but Simon, I want to put this to you. I mean, Dan rightly is saying, okay, and it may be the case, that Nathan Jones is into building relationships. 9th of January 2019, leaves Luton for Stoke. 28th of May 2020, returns to Luton. 9th of November 2022, on the brink of leaving Luton for Southampton.
So what's your point? So he's at Luton for 3 years, right? Gets an opportunity to manage a bigger club, takes that opportunity, stinks the place out, goes back to Luton, does a good job at Luton for 2.5 years. I don't think that tells you anything other than the fact that when he goes to Luton, he applies himself. He's there for 3 years. He's produced a win record of 47% at that football club. So that's a very impressive win record. If we were to replicate that in the Premier League, you'd be talking about a 53-point season for Southampton, which of course is comparing apples with oranges. But not,
so do you think that this kind of behaviour is perfectly permissible? No, because normally you hammer managers
No. I hammer managers when they haven't earned the right to do what perhaps Nathan Jones is considering doing. If I had a manager at my club for 2.5-3 years, and he's been so successful that he's been coveted by other clubs, I would have to in part accept that he'd done his job for me. He hadn't just walked in the door like Marco Silva did at Watford, been there for 3 months. Oh, I fancy that. Hadn't just done it like Gary Browett did. Oh, I fancy that.
So if you were at Luton, you'd be giving Jones permission tonight?
Well, I'd be unhappy about it. I wouldn't be sitting there laying out roses petals for him to walk over, but I'd be realistic enough to say, okay, you gave me 2.5-3 years. This is the challenge I've got as being Luton Town. I know that, or whoever I would have been in situ that was a bigger club trying to take my manager, I would have had to accept, and I would have locked it in a way best I could. Well, that if I'm going to have this disruption, I'm going to get paid for this disruption. I'm going to have made sure that when Nathan Jones came back to Luton, I got some sort of protection around whether it was a notice period which made people have to pay a compensation, or whether it was a compensation clause that softened the blow.
So Dan, you know how clubs operate in the EFL. Will Luton fans give him a pass on this one?
I think Luton fans will be upset. Some will be heartbroken because of the job Nathan Jones has done. Nathan Jones stunk out Stoke. So's everyone else, by the way, at Stoke in recent years. Nathan Jones failed there, but so many other managers have also failed to get them moving in the right direction in a number of years now. First spell to
hold on. A 15% win record is not stinking it out. That's obscene. That's a dreadful performance. So if we're going to compare like for like, Stoke have been declining for some period of time, but I don't think you're going to pull off other people's records and say he won 15% of the games. It was really bad at Stoke.
Nathan Jones at Luton, Simon, has worked.
Oh, yeah,
First
brilliant.
spell,
No, I'm
took
in
them
your
from
camp
League
there.
Two.
A 47% win record,
Yeah.
not losing 78% of games because he's got about a 28, 29% draw record is commendable given the resources. So I think he's a decent manager at Luton. Now, whether that translates to a decent manager at Southampton, that's a different discussion, isn't it?
That is the point. He has been given absolute power when it comes to key footballing decisions at Luton Town, and that has worked wonderfully well for Nathan Jones at Kenilworth Road. He is also someone, Nathan, who, how do I word this, speaks his mind an awful lot, and Luton back him when it comes to that. There's a lot of volume and a lot of noise that comes from Nathan Jones at times when Luton aren't playing so well, but that is what the manager can often do to try and protect his players, to protect his football club. I think at times when it comes to the Premier League, and every word, every sentence, everything you say, every comment is scrutinised.
Is amplified.
Will that kind of come back to hurt Nathan at times? But what Southampton look like they're getting is someone that will invest every ounce of their being to try and get Southampton
Dan,
right.
what's the link? What's the
players.
link? Because you've got a Serbian billionaire that's walked through the door, that's bought Southampton 7 months ago. You don't necessarily think, oh, I'll tell you what I'll do, is I'll go for Nathan Jones at Luton. What's the link?
I'll be honest, I've absolutely no idea. No idea why Southampton have identified Nathan Jones, British young, an ability to, Southampton will hope, develop young players, a young squad that Hasenhuttl had at St Mary's, hopefully to try and take them forward. But they've got to be thinking longer term with the appointment of Nathan Jones.
We touched on this yesterday, Dan. Rasmus Ankersen, formerly of Brentford, now part of Sport Republic, Southampton's owners. And it appears that Nathan Jones, allegedly, is a big pal of Matt Crocker, who is the director of football at Southampton.
That's my point.
So there's your link.
And the same as it was with Rob Edwards when he was being potentially interviewed by Middlesbrough. It was Kieran Scott, wasn't it? It was his mate as well.
So who are Luton going to go for? What are you hearing, Dan?
Not hearing an awful lot at this moment in time, chaps, to be honest. All focus is on their game with Stoke tonight. Nathan will take that game and then has been granted permission, as you rightly said, at the top of this section to talk with Southampton. I don't think Luton will want to act until they know Nathan is 100% out the door, but it is looking like that. Who will Nathan take with him to from Kenilworth Road to Southampton? We'll have to wait and see. Luton will then want to act, but Luton will feel not that far off the playoffs after a miraculous run to the playoffs last season. They were hoping to build, and again they'll look for someone that is young, is ambitious, that can try and take on a squad at Luton and continue to deliver brilliant football on a fraction of a budget. And that's what Nathan's done at Luton, and that's what Southampton will hope Nathan can do at St Mary, deliver progression on a fraction of a budget compared to so many around them in the Premier League.
Dan, thank you very much indeed. Dan Windle, who knows everything there is to know about the EFL. And this somewhat bizarre story, but Nathan Jones could be taking charge of his final game as Luton manager tonight after Luton confirmed, yes, Southampton come calling and he can speak to them. So we'll see what happens there.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.